Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit Acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your taste. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
Hello there, welcome into another episode of the Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. That's why it's called that. Zach Burke is alongside, behind the glass, keeping us on the air, as he does 5 days a week. If you're new here, live on YouTube every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Talking nothing but Boston sports, really your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. Today, we're going through one of my passion projects, truly. We're going to talk about the greatest Bruins killers of all time. And YouTube might not even like that I say that, so this video might not reach anybody. But I love this subject. We're going to go through the top 5 of all time with some honorable mentions as well. Would definitely love to hear, if you're following along, who you think are the greatest Bruins killers of all time down in the comment section below. And then we will talk about the guy that's not Roman Anthony, that the Red Sox are missing the most right now. If they don't get this guy back soon, it could be a very, very short October, if October at all, the way the Red Sox are playing. All that and more coming up on this episode of the Cam Show. But we start where we start. It's in the thumbnail. I teased it yesterday. It's been something I've been trying to craft up for a couple of weeks now, and that'll become apparent when I do it. But we're going to go through the top 5 Bruins killers of all time. Not just villains, but guys who crush them. It's one of my favorite things in sports. One of the great phenomena. But I guess without any further ado, let's get into it. Jordan against the Jazz. Mahomes against the Bills. Aikman against the Bills. Brady against the Jets, the Colts, and, well, the Bills. There's something beautiful about that one player who just crushes a certain opponent every single time they play them. Unless it's happening to your team, then it's not as fun. It's one of the most fascinating sports phenomena to me, the player who just raises their game against a certain team, whether it's revenge or pure luck, whether it's Hall of Famers or Jags. These guys become the biggest enemies in an entire city. They may never mean more than they do to that one place that hates them. Now, there are some villains who will come from a dirty play or ridiculous antics. It's the reason why Alex Burrows and Ulf Samuelsson won't be taking vacations to Boston anytime soon. But I want to focus on the guys who aren't just pests. I want to focus on the guys who were good. The guys the Bruins just couldn't stop, or the guys the Bruins couldn't stop stopping the Bruins. Let's give a definitive list for the top 5 Bruins killers in history. Number 5, and certainly the most recent one to appear on our list, that would be one Matthew Tkachuk. Now, clearly the newest one, most recent, definitely some recency bias there. And it does seem a little weird when you do the research and you see that he's only actually played 20 regular season games against the Bruins in his whole career. And he does have 19 points in those 20 games, so that's something. But he gets on this list because of what he's done against them in the playoffs. In 13 career playoff games against the Bruins, he has 16 points on 6 goals and 10 assists, and was no doubt the engine behind that 2023 Florida Panthers team that pulls off one of the greatest upsets in NHL history. He had the overtime winner in Game 5, which kept him alive after they were down 3-1, and was no doubt like the biggest thorn in the side of the Bruins. And he really came in and instantly turned around a team that this fan base absolutely hates at this point, completely loathes the Florida Panthers, who were irrelevant to everyone before Matthew Tkachuk joined the team. Certainly a pest, as well as a heck of a player. Not only did he have the overtime game winner in that Game 5 in 2023, he also famously or infamously fought David Pastrnak in the 2024 series that just got totally wild. I would love to have him on my team any day of the week. But is he a guy that takes runs at European players who don't fight and takes runs at goalies? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And to top it all off, to make it all the more worse, of course, we know his dad, a Boston native, Big Walt, Keith Tkachuk, one of the all-time New England hockey legends, right? Should be a Hall of Famer and will be a Hall of Famer. From this area, played at BU, just like Matthew's brother did, Brady Tkachuk. Matthew does not endear himself to Boston nearly as much as the rest of his family. So it definitely does make it hurt just a little bit extra. Moving on to number 4. Now, if you asked Bruins fans of my generation and you gave them this prompt, who are the greatest Bruins killers, I'll bet the first name they thought of was Thomas Vanek. Okay. Vanek is really the only one on this list who gets here on regular season play alone. And he more than made up for not playing the Bruins in the playoffs by what he did against them in the regular season. Now, Thomas Vanek had a good career for all intents and purposes. He had a very good career, right? Definitely one that gets you on the billboard in your hometown. All right. He played over 1,000 games in the NHL. He scored 373 goals, made an all-star team. More of a journeyman than he was an all-star, obviously. Played for 8 NHL teams and never really contributed much to winning, except against the Bruins. Okay. So he's one of those guys who, is he close to Hall of Famer? Not really. But in 67 career games against the Bruins, he has 34 goals, dished out 36 assists, 70 points in 67 games, and was a plus 21 against them. That included a game in 2013, I remember, at the Garden, where he scored a hat trick and scored 5 points, and the Sabres beat him 7-4. So they needed every bit of Thomas Vanek to beat the Bruins in that game. If he had played his whole career against the Bruins, he'd have been a Hall of Famer. He's more than a point a game against them. Against everyone else, he didn't do enough to even appear on the Hall of Fame ballot. Now that, my friends, is a guy who knows how to kill one team and one team only. I was begging for years. He was always available at the trade deadline. I was thinking, man, if the Bruins can just get him, maybe this will be his most prolific stop yet, because he loves scoring at the Garden, but it was probably just against the Bruins and really against Tim Thomas. Just own those guys, man, forever and ever. This one is maybe the most frustrating for my generation because, again, he was just a solid player against everybody else. Matthew Tkachuk looks like a Hall of Famer, right? Thomas Vanek did not look like that, and he killed the Bruins. And that's not the last time that we'll see a guy who was good, solid, not Hall of Fame worthy, that put up Hall of Fame worthy numbers against the Bruins. Not the last time we'll see that on this list. The next guy, though, is Hall of Fame against the Bruins and definitely Hall of Fame against everybody else. Number 3, the great, the one, the only, Guy Lafleur. It's about time we get a Hab on this list, okay? He's not going to be the only one. Spoiler alert. There's 2 left after this, and you will see at least one more Hab. Guy is obviously one of those guys, or Guys? Guy is obviously one of those Guys. Do you have to say it that way? Who killed just about every team, but victimized the Bruins in the most important games of the season quite often, okay? During his career, Guy Lafleur scored more points against the Bruins than all but 3 NHL teams. And Boston was the only one of those top 4 teams that he scored against that wasn't completely hot garbage for the entire decade of the 1970s. Okay, the other ones were like the Kings, the Penguins, and someone else who was just ass the whole time. Maybe Detroit, that was just bad the whole decade. The Bruins were not that. That's what makes him such a great Bruins killer. 85 points in 80 career games on 34 goals and 51 assists. Played an entire season's worth of games against them in his career in the regular season and was better than a point a game. Of course, one of the main reasons he ends up on this list isn't just that, the regular season, but the fact that he crushed Bruins dreams pretty much every spring. Knocked them out of the playoffs 4 times, including an 8-2 record against them in the Stanley Cup final alone, which also includes an overtime winner in Game 2 of the 1978 Stanley Cup final. And when you're scoring an overtime winner against a team in the Stanley Cup final, that's endeared in their memory forever. Looking at you, Andrew Shaw. Now, his most famous goal came against them, of course, in Game 7 of the 79 conference final, not in the Stanley Cup final, when the Bruins had this late lead at the Forum. I want to say it was 3-2. They were in pole position to beat the Habs in a playoff series for the first time in 35 years to that point. But it was Guy Lafleur who caused the havoc. He jumps onto the ice. Don Cherry needs Donnie Marcotte out there. It's a bad change, which leads to the too many men on the ice penalty, the most infamous penalty in Bruins history. And of course, not only does he basically draw the call, but it was Lafleur who scored the game-tying goal on this perfect shot. Brad Park has always called it a 1 in a million shot. He was on the ice for it, just barely off the ice, just barely inside the post. Classic Guy Lafleur. Habs win it, no T. Bruins lose. Lafleur becomes a villain forever. One of the great Habs players of all time, in one of the great Habs eras of all time, and in the one where the Habs victimized the Bruins maybe the most. Guy Lafleur has to be on here. I mean, has to be firmly on that Mount Rushmore of all time Bruins Killers. So he slots in at number 3. Let's swing it on down to number 2, and this is where we start to change the player profile a little bit. We're getting into goalies. Number 2, Braden Holtby. Goalie time should be no surprise because goalies are typically the biggest team killers, right? Braden Holtby is the modern version of that for Bruins fans. In his career, Holtby was 18-5 against the Bruins in the regular season. And in those games, he posted an absurd .940 save percentage and a .198 goals against average over that span. That is over an entire decade where you're playing a team every year, multiple times a year, and you put together like a Vezina winning season against them in 23 games over 9 years. It's actually what it is. It's actually like 8 years. That's incredible. And where they really gets under the skin of Bruins fans was in 2012. That's where he burst onto the scene. In the playoffs, Bruins were the defending Stanley Cup champions. They were facing Washington in the first round. The Caps were hurting, man. They barely scraped by to get in the playoffs as the 7th seed. They had the worst goals against of any team in the postseason. They were 21st in the league in goals against. And they were down to their 3rd goalie, this unproven kid named Braden Holtby. And if you've watched any kind of sports movie, you know how this ends. Holtby absolutely stole the series. Once again, going for a .940 save percentage. Having a .940 save percentage against them for your career and in this one series, for that to pop up twice is insane. Gave up just 15 goals on 248 shots through 7 games. And the Caps won the series in 7, with each game being decided by a single goal. Like, it's just nuts. The term absurd is what fits here. Like, nothing before it showed us that this was going to happen. A year after Tim Thomas has probably the greatest postseason run a goalie has ever had, Braden Holtby went toe-to-toe with him and beat him. Like, that series alone makes you an all-time great Bruins killer. That was a hell of a Bruins team. They won the Stanley Cup the year before. They went to the Stanley Cup final the year after. And Braden Holtby is the one who takes it over and knocks him out in the first round. Now, Holtby had a fine career. I think he won a Vezina as well, won a Stanley Cup. But it fizzled out pretty quickly. And when you look at his career stats and the defenses he played behind, it's just good. It's just solid. It's not great. If he played against the Bruins his entire career, he'd be a Hall of Famer. And to make matters worse, Holtby had only one more playoff game against the Bruins, and it happened in 2020. And it was the only game that Washington won in the series. They just couldn't figure the guy out, which is bad considering that, again, he was just an above-average goalie, pretty solid the rest of his career. Braden Holtby comes in at number 2. Now, before we get to number 1, it's time for a couple of honorable mentions because I know there are some names that people are like, how has he not said this one yet? First of 3 honorable mentions, PK Subban. Now, Subban was obviously a great Bruins villain because of the brashness, the confidence, the cockiness, the way he played. But his career numbers against them really aren't that great. 19 points and a -5 rating in 45 career games against them. Now, he did, however, come up really big in some big moments in the playoffs, okay? He had a Game 6 game-winning goal that forced a Game 7. I believe that was in 2011. He had an overtime winner in 2014 in a series that the Canadiens knocked out the regular season champions, the President's Trophy winning Bruins. And then, of course, in Game 7 in 2011, it's kind of forgotten about now because the Bruins won. but he scored a late game-tying goal on the road. I think it was at 18:03 of the third period. And remember, he kind of gave one of these, trying to hear the Bruins fans, and forced that game into overtime, forced the Bruins to the ropes in a year that they won the Stanley Cup. But of course, Nathan Horton won it in OT, so you don't really remember that. But he's got some moments against the Bruins, that's for sure. But maybe not quite good enough head-to-head to make it on this list. Other honorable mention, Mr. Hockey, Gordie Howe. Not many lists that Gordie Howe is just an honorable mention on when it comes to great players. And when it comes to, if you want to get it down to the very definition of a Bruins killer, Gordie Howe is probably going to have to be your pick. No one has ever scored more points against the Bruins. 349 points in a ridiculous 317 career games against the Bruins. In fact, Gordie Howe has more points against the Bruins than any one player has had against any one single team in the history of hockey. But in the original six era, that certainly gets inflated. He did play them in the playoffs, but it was only twice. And if we're being honest, the Bruins were really bad for most of Gordie's really long career. Throughout the 60s, they were horrible. In the back half of the 50s, they had some good teams. They made the Stanley Cup final in a 6-team era twice in a row. But in the early 50s, they weren't very good either. So most of Gordie's prime years, he was playing some really bad Bruins teams. And he doesn't necessarily have the playoff numbers against him. So that's why he doesn't make the list. The next guy, the last honorable mention, does have some playoff moments against the Bruins, and that is Carey Price. This is a sneaky one because a lot of fans, again, of my generation remember the victories over Carey Price and, the Carey. And outside of that sweep that the Bruins had in 2009, he was nails against the Bruins. Okay, had a career .918 save percentage against them and a .255 goals against average for his career. Both those numbers went up in the playoffs. But when you have a series sweep against you on the books, it's tough for me to call you an all-time Bruins killer. And he's not quite the biggest Bruins killer amongst Canadiens goalies. I think you know where I'm going with this one. Number one, the all-time greatest Bruins killer, the late, great Ken Dryden. The real inspiration for this list. Obviously, Dryden passed away about a week and a half ago. Certainly one of the great ambassadors ever for the game of hockey. Really tough not to like the guy unless you just have a real thing against nerds. Then maybe that's easy. But the real inspiration for this list, because I don't think there's anyone you could put above Ken Dryden for all that this context has. Now, stick with me. It's story time because the legend starts in 1971. Okay, there's context that's very much needed here. The Bruins in 1971 are not only the defending Stanley Cup champions, but they have broken every offensive record in the books. They set a new NHL standard for wins, points, goals scored, and goal difference in this season. Before 1971, only 4 NHL players had scored 100 points in this season, all time, ever. That had only happened 4 times. The Bruins had 4 100-point scorers that year on their own team. Phil Esposito, Ken Hodge, Bobby Orr, and Johnny Busick. They doubled the amount of 100-point scorers in the over 50-year history of the NHL that one year alone. Phil Esposito destroyed the single-season goal record. He scored 76 goals that year. Only Wayne Gretzky and Brett Hull have scored more in a season than Phil Esposito that year. Bobby Orr cashed in 102 assists as a defenseman. Only Wayne Gretzky has more assists in a season than Bobby Orr. These guys were unstoppable until they were stopped. Somehow, a 23-year-old former college hockey goalie, talk about looking your nose down on someone back then, a guy who played college hockey, with 6 career games before the playoffs, stopped the greatest and most talented team in NHL history to that point. And the Habs stole the 7-game series. Jean Beliveau's last year with the Canadiens, they thought they had no chance going into this playoff against such a strong Bruins team, but they had Ken Dryden. That's all they had. They had Ken Dryden, and they knew how to play against the Bruins, I guess. In his career, He knocked the Bruins out of the playoffs 4 times in 4 meetings with a .910 save percentage in those games, including beating them for the Stanley Cup twice. And like Guy Lafleur, was 8-2 against them in the Stanley Cup final. That is crazy, man. That's nuts. As much as Ken Dryden apparently loved Boston, talks about that in his books, talked about it in interviews, loved Boston. I think the only thing he loved more was beating the shit out of them at every time of asking. Every time it was against them, he came up big. And I think what's so interesting is when you look at those great Canadiens teams of the late 1970s, in that 77 season, I want to say, was the one where they lost 8 games in the regular season. I think it was like 11 for the entire season, like including the playoffs. And 3 of them came against the Bruins that year. I think it was actually 4 out of 11. So they were pretty evenly matched for the most part until it came to the games that mattered. So Ken Dryden made a living out of beating the Bruins in the playoffs 4 times in 4 meetings, but it goes even further than that. In 1967, he's playing for Cornell, and whom did they beat to win the national championship? Of course, the only college hockey team that simply wears Boston across their chest, the Boston University Terriers, captained by Jack Parker at that point. And to add insult to injury, Ken Dryden in the 1964 NHL draft was selected 14th overall by the Boston Bruins. He went to college, so he was traded for 2 guys that don't even have Wikipedia pages. And Montreal got Ken Dryden. No notes, no question about it. The biggest Bruins killer in history is the late, great Ken Dryden. No other way you can go here. No other way. And to add some more insult to injury here, because we're just going through a lot of Bruins pain right now, Ken Dryden is the best goalie of the 1970s. He plays 8 years, wins 6 Stanley Cups and 5 Vezina trophies. And the year that he takes off to be a lawyer in Toronto, which obviously will never happen again, that's another year that the Bruins make the Stanley Cup final because they didn't have to face Montreal. But the second best goalie in that era, in that decade, is probably the guy who ended up actually beating the Bruins in the 74 Stanley Cup final. Again, just a cruel twist of irony. It's Bernie Parent who beats him 1-0, shuts out that great 74 Bruins team in Game 6 for the Flyers to win their first Stanley Cup. Just like Ken Dryden was selected by the Bruins, Bernie Parent started his career with the Boston Bruins. He and Reggie Leach were left unprotected. Both their goalies. Reggie Leach was gone in a deal before that. Bernie Parent left unprotected in the expansion draft, and the new expansion Philadelphia Flyers go and pick him up. So how about that? In an era where the Bruins made the Stanley Cup final 5 times in that decade, they made the Cup final. They won it twice. They were the best team in hockey basically throughout that decade outside of Montreal. They should have won more Stanley Cups, and they probably would have if they had just held on to either of the 2 goalies that they let go for nothing. That's what makes Ken Dryden the best Bruins killer of all time, and Bernie Parent deserves his shout out as well. But let me know what you think. There are certainly some other guys that you could put on this list. Ron Francis is the only one in the top 20 goal scorers against the Bruins that didn't play in the original 6 era. That's a pretty interesting one. There are certainly some guys that more playoff based in the last 10, 15 years. Sidney Crosby's regular season numbers against the Bruins are great, but has only played 4 playoff games against them and lost them all. So if you have any other suggestions for who the greatest Bruins killers of all time are, let me know in the comment section below. Then be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, come on back every weekday where we're here live at high noon Eastern time, talking a lot of Bruins and everything else going on in the world of Boston sports. And if you miss us, check out the other videos on the YouTube channel, Talking Boston Sports. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps this on the air, giving you your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio here on The Cam Show. Coming up next, let's talk about the player the Red Sox miss the most right now. Not Roman Anthony, but a guy they need to get back in their lineup right now, or they won't have Roman Anthony because they won't be in the American League Championship Series. Let's tell you who that is next on the Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
I don't know, if Bubble wasn't here, I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak That Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
And now, back to our show.
Now back to it. The Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. We went through a whole lot of Bruins pain in the first segment, specifically the players that gave the most pain to the Bruins in their time. And it was tough to only limit it to two Montreal Canadiens, two who played basically in the same era. But Patrick Waugh could not be included on that list. Carey Price was close. You know, there were some other guys you could think about, but Guy Lafleur and Ken Dryden, absolutely the two. Anyway, we will continue on with Boston sports pain, but not the same kind of pain that we did in the last one. This will be like actual, more physical pain, as it were, and maybe some emotional pain as we get into the last, 11 games of the Red Sox season here. It's starting to feel a bit painful. I'll say that, but it looks like they're postseason bound. They're still more than 80% likely to get there. I think they will get there, but now it's going to become a fight towards, can you catch the first wild card? Can you have home field in that wild card series? Could you dip down to third? And if that's the case, who's coming up behind you? Because you don't have the tiebreaker on the Texas Rangers. That could be really difficult. But anyway, let's keep it focused on what we're actually talking about in this segment, shall we? Let's do it. The Red Sox offense is cracking, and no one is talking about the actual reason why. It's all Roman Anthony, Roman Anthony, Roman Anthony. I get it. He's the best hitter on the team. No doubt. And when he goes down, the outlook of this team looks a lot different. I said it on this show as well. But this offense needs a power bat in the middle of the lineup just as badly as it needs an all-around gifted hitter at the top of it. The Red Sox need Wilyer Abreu back now. They need him back right now. Or else it could be a pretty early exit in October. Before he went down in mid-August, Wilyer had the team lead with 22 homers that only just got surpassed by Trevor Story and 69 RBI. Nice. And was pretty much the only real home run threat the Red Sox had. Trevor Story hadn't got hot yet, and he's still a 24 homer guy. That's nice. That's solid. But Wilyer was about to be a 30 home run guy, which means the Red Sox were about to trade him because they hate keeping 30 home run guys. Tyler O'Neill, Hunter Renfroe, Rafael Devers. But without him, Roman Anthony picked up the slack. Without both of them, the Red Sox don't have the look of a playoff team right now offensively. And they're about 2 weeks away from playing in the playoffs. Like that's not a good thing you want to be saying about this team right now. This lineup is incomplete. And it's showing for sure. And the only guy that can come in and pick up the slack until the ALCS, when you can maybe get back Roman Anthony, is Wilyer Abreu. Like, he's the only one that's close. We're hearing that he could come back next week. And they're as desperate as ever for him right now. They really, really need that kind of bat in their lineup. And you looked at last year, they were a lefty-heavy lineup. Remember, it was this season, you need to go out and get a right-handed bat just to get some balance in there. They were too lefty-heavy. And now this year, at this point, as you're looking towards the postseason, they don't have enough left-handed guys. They don't have enough balance, right? In the most important games of the year, the Red Sox are without their 3 best lefty hitters this season. No Roman Anthony, no Wilyer Abreu, and still worth noting, no Rafael Devers. Combine that with the declined numbers across the board for Jarren Duran, and you're down to Nate Lowe being your only left-handed power threat. Now, we all have liked what Nate Lowe's done so far, but come on, it's Nate Lowe. In August, he was cut by one of the worst teams in all of baseball in the Washington Nationals. And what's really sucked about not having Wilyer Abreu in the lineup is the replacement that's been in there for him. In the last month, when Wilyer Abreu has been on the IL, those at-bats have gone to Masataka Yoshida, who is quite literally one of the worst position players in all of baseball. That's the big problem here, is you talk about Wilyer Abreu's WAR and how much better he is above the replacement player, and his replacement player is worse than any other replacement player. You replaced a positive WAR guy with a negative WAR guy, so you're not even getting a league average player in return. In the last month, when Abreu's been on the injured list, Yoshida is hitting .209 with a disgusting, derogatory 514 OPS. Has twice as many strikeouts as walks and probably 10 times as many ground balls to second base. At best, he is a singles hitter, and he hasn't even been that. 3 extra base hits in a month, 3 of them. That's putrid. That's horrible. And at a time where you don't have Wilyer, you don't have Roman Anthony, and Alex Bregman's been on the slump of his career, having Masataka Yoshida in the lineup every day makes it all the more glaring that you're going to have a real uphill battle when you face some good teams in the playoffs. And to add to that, the next 4 opponents the Red Sox will face, if we believe they'll match up with the Yankees in the playoffs, of those next 4 opponents, 3 of them are the bottom 3 teams in the American League for Masataka Yoshida's OPS. It's the 3 worst teams he's hit against this year. And the 4th team that's in that mix are the Toronto Blue Jays, a team that he hasn't faced at all this year. That is really not a good sign, guys. That's not a good sign at all, that Masataka Yoshida will potentially still be taking those at-bats rather than Wilyer Abreu. And to add to that, not only, I just say he's one of the worst hitters, position players in baseball, not just at the plate, okay? He's an absolute albatross in the outfield. Like Giancarlo Stanton is for the Yankees, you can't hide Masa Yoshida. He can't field, he can't run, and he sure as hell can't throw. And again, if you're talking about a replacement player replacing Wilyer Abreu, then you might be okay, but you're not. And Wilyer Abreu, maybe his best upside is in the outfield. He's a Gold Glover in his one season in the major leagues. He has a rocket for an arm and absolutely solidifies what is a pretty good defensive outfield for the Red Sox when they have all their guys in the mix. They don't have all their guys in the mix. They don't. Instead of Wilyer Abreu and his 20-plus homers and his 800 OPS in the lineup every day, you're sticking in Masataka Yoshida, Nate Eaton, Nate Lowe, who's the best of those three comfortably. That's where the huge drop-off is. If you don't have Roman Anthony in this lineup, but you still have Wilyer Abreu, it's certainly a different outlook on the lineup, but you're not losing a ton in terms of quality. You're just not. You're keeping basically a 30 home run guy in your lineup. But when they're both down and out, that doesn't look like a playoff team, and they have not been playing like a playoff team. And they're going to need to really light a fire under their own ass pretty quickly here to still be a playoff team. Alex Cora, their manager, was the one saying it the other day, saying, hey, guys, let's not talk about October yet. We might not even get to October. And a nagging injury like this to Wilyer Abreu is the kind of thing that can keep them off the postseason bracket. Truly. And it's almost cruel for Boston fans right now. Like, you talk about Wilyer Abreu on this Red Sox team and how important he is. You can say the same thing about Christian Gonzalez on this Patriots team, and they're both battling hamstring injuries. They're like the worst things to go through, man, because you never know when they're gonna come back. There's no like amount of work you can put in to just make it better. There's no bunch of rehab that you can have to make it better. I mean, we're going on 6 weeks that Christian Gonzalez hasn't even practiced. It's the same kind of thing with Wilyer Abreu, man. It's frustrating. And if he doesn't come back soon, if that report is wrong and he's not coming back in the next week, then the Red Sox are going to be really white-knuckling this thing. And if he's not back by the start of the postseason, if they're there will be no hope of meeting up with Roman Anthony in the ALCS because they won't get past the wild card round. But I will say, y'all, if he does come back, and he is back in time for that playoffs, and let's say it is the wild card series at Yankee Stadium, his career numbers there are just meh. He hasn't played a lot there, but would it surprise anyone if he's back and he has a massive home run and the short porch at Yankee Stadium in the biggest game of the year? Would it shock anybody? Tell him it's the Texas Rangers he's playing against. He'll hit 3 home runs. Oh, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Is Wilyer Abreu the most important missing piece on this team right now? Let me know in the comment section below. Can they make the playoffs without Wilyer Abreu returning in the next 2 weeks? Let me know in the comment section below. Then be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're coming at you live on YouTube every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week. Check out the other videos on YouTube talking Red Sox, Bruins, everything else going on in the world of Boston sports, because we are your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. Coming up next, I might bring Zach into the fray if he's available. We have got a little off the board thing here. I talked up so much game about a certain jersey that came out last week, while I have received mine in the mail. So we have got a jersey kit review coming up next on The Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Maud Lily is your go-to for stylish and affordable fashion that fits your life. Whether you're looking for the perfect swimsuit for a beach day, a chic dress for a night out, or cozy tops for everyday wear, Maud Lily has it all. Their extensive collection of swimwear, including bikinis, tankinis, and one-pieces, always keeps you on trend, while their dresses and tops come in flattering styles for every occasion. Visit maudlily.com today.
Natural Cycles identifies your fertile window by analyzing changes in your temperature. It's the first FDA-cleared birth control app. No hormones, no side effects, and 93% effective with typical use, and 98% effective with perfect use. Just measure in the morning, add your temperature into the app, then learn which days you can and cannot get pregnant. It's that easy. Learn more at naturalcycles.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Home's where the heart is. Home. There's no place like it. Homes are filled with memories and emotions. OfferPad knows this is your home, not your house. That's why we do what we do. Every day, we aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
And now, back to our show.
Back to it. The Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. If you're new here, we're live YouTube, high noon Eastern time every weekday, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well, with all the segments going out on YouTube also. I don't know if Zach can bring himself in. At least we could do voice of God thing. But I went over this with Zach last week. There was a jersey that came out that I couldn't have been more excited about. It's like top 5 most excited I've ever been for a uniform reveal and kind of the line that went with it as well. And I said on that show that when I get it in the mail, we're going to have to bring it up here on the show as we've done before. Can't hear you yet. And I knew we were going to back ourselves into.
If I unmuted myself.
I got you now. And I knew we were going to back ourselves up on time with that first segment, Zach. So I thought today's the day because it came in right after the show yesterday.
All right, I'm listening. I'm going to fix this clear. Go ahead.
I had to pay the tariffs on it. Remember, it's just the companies that'll be paying the tariffs, not your fucking football shirt that you're ordering that's double in price because of the tariffs. And I didn't know about that until after I ordered it. I could have ordered it from America, but I decided, I was going to help the club out so they can keep these big transfers coming in. Without any further ado, let's look at this thing, shall we? Come on, man. Come on. It looks even better in person, man. The Liverpool third shirt from this year. Look at that. Looking at it up close, the sewn in Adidas stripes, the little faux pinstripes here. Love that. It's the fans version, which to me is better. It's just
that looks really good.
Than the
okay, hold on. So there's fans versions and there's
So here's the thing. I'll hold this up while I say it.
Yeah.
So all the football shirt companies started running this scam about 5 or 6 years ago where they definitely don't do that. They do authentic, and I think they call it stadium jerseys, the fan style jerseys. The fan style jerseys is what you would normally see. The authentic ones are like the dry fit, really tight, like I don't think I'm that fat, but I have kind of a belly and it's really tough for me to wear those these days. And they have like the rubber crest on it. It's supposed to be the kind that the players wear on the pitch.
Gotcha.
This is more of like a wearing out kind of thing. And it's a little bit cheaper. The authentics go for about $150 with no name on the back. Even a short sleeve. This I got directly from the club with a name and number on the back with a special patch on the side. And I think it was about $140, which is still a lot of money. Like that's a lot of money, but compared to that, it's meh. Love the trefoil hair. I think it's what they call it. The old logo.
So why is the Premier logo in gold? Or is that just
it's funny that you should ask, Zach. The Premier League logo is in gold here because Liverpool are the defending Premier League champions, and you get to wear it in gold the next season after you win the thing. So that was like all they have again 3 banger shirts this year.
Yeah, no, I'm a Tottenham fan. I don't know that.
Yeah, so you wouldn't know what that is. Yeah, that's what happens when you win the league.
I just roasted myself, but yeah.
That is quite poetic. So all the shirts this year, I've had to get that on the back. Florian Wirtz on the back of it has yet to kind of find a stride yet, but it's only been 4 games in a new league in a new country. So
can I ask you, and maybe you don't know, but just to explain part of this to me, the 97 on the back above the name?
Yes. Oh man, how much time you got? How much time you got?
So I love things like this about you.
So there's a good ESPN documentary about it. It's about the Hillsborough disaster. Liverpool. You've probably heard of this in some way, not because you grew up near a town called Hillsborough, but
no.
Yes. So 1989 FA Cup semifinals. Liverpool at the Hillsborough Stadium in Sheffield. There was the police basically left the gate open to let all these people in who didn't have tickets. And so it was standing room only, and there was more people than there was room for. And it became the worst sporting disaster in British history and one of the worst in world history. 97 people died as a result of it. And so Liverpool on the back of all their shirts have the eternal Hillsborough flame and the 97. It was 96 for a long time, but a couple years ago, one of the people who was left permanently compromised by Hillsborough died a premature death. So 97 is now on the back of all of them. And that's something even like the Chinese knockoffs keep up with, which I think is really cool. And they're long sleeve, of course, Zach, long sleeve with a nice thick cuff at the end of it. I love a long sleeve shirt, any shirt, but especially a soccer jersey too.
Are you pro cuff?
And I am so pro cuff, man.
Okay.
That's what makes it 90s. That's what makes it like, I hate an open cuff long sleeve. I just think that's so worthless. It's just like hanging off your hand. That's the other thing too. I'm a short guy, so I have kind of short arms. And so the cuff is, I think, way better, or else it's just going to like hang off my hand, which is also kind of small.
I'm a little slow to this. I realized you wore that Red Sox hat today. Was that on purpose, or did it just so happen to?
No, and in fact, it doesn't. You might not even be able to tell because the light I have on it, it really doesn't match.
Oh yeah, I can tell now. The greens are off.
Yeah, you can see that. And maybe this is the resurgence of green, Zach, in sports uniforms.
Oh, we did talk about that.
Like, these are 2 greens that are really not used. Like, how many other times do you see these greens in sports uniform?
But where is the resurgence going to be at? Because we covered those rivalry jerseys, and it's getting very monochromatic and just super generic in the NFL. So
yeah, I just think you'll start to see teams play around with that a little bit more. We'll probably see it with soccer because they have the opportunity to do it more. Yeah, the NFL went in a different direction, didn't they? They went gray for, monochromatic is a better way to put it. Then they had kind of the splatter jerseys for the Cardinals, which, mark my words, you will see more of that. You will see other teams do that.
Where it looks like a drop.
That kind of started with soccer. Arsenal did a great one a couple years ago. Their old stadium had marble floors kind of all over the offices and everything. And so they had this white jersey that looked like marble, like it had and I thought that was really cool. Arsenal sucks, but I think that's a really cool kit that they did. So you're going to see it pop up more. Like, these are 2 greens that you don't see. Fenway green works perfect for the Red Sox, and Liverpool, as I've mentioned last week, have done this kind of green before. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since they did that kind of green. And it just pops, man, doesn't it? They wore it in the game on Sunday, and it was a classic British day, like overcast, gray, and it fucking popped. It looked so good. And I like the player that's on the back of this, Zach, but I know you'll kind of appreciate this struggle, as it were. I do like this player on the back. I think he's going to be a good player, but I'm worried that if he does become a bust, like, once I see this, like, there's no other Liverpool jersey I really want to wear. You know what I mean? And I have a lot of them.
So you'll have to just wear the one of the guy
coming in the mail. So I will have to at some point, but I'm like, if he doesn't have a good season, like if he's bad by the end of the season before they stop selling these, I'm going to have to get another one with someone else on the back because I'm going to wear that every time I go out. So
the good news is, though, the season just started. So
just started. And he's brand new. Look at that, man. Love that old crest too. That's really fantastic. Good. The only thing on the 3 jerseys that I don't like, which I showed you all 3 of them, is the the kind of off-white one, which I love off-white, cream-colored, ecru-colored, has this, but without the Liverpool Football Club on it. So it's just the shield and it just doesn't look great to me. Still a belter for sure. So
gotcha. You like the verbiage there too.
Worth the money, I will say.
It looks nice. So are you going to show off? Are you going to show off the other ones when it gets into?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I will. Now that
we've making sure.
This bit. Now that we've
this is honestly,
it could take a while. I ordered them from China. So
these are low key my favorite, just unprepared segments that we do. Of just Cam shows off the new jersey he got in the mail that day.
I mean, yeah, that could be something. It'll fuel a bad habit, but
we're waiting for anyway. And of course,
we could do whole specials. We could do whole specials about like just going through my closet. Like we have not seen.
But hopefully the hockey jersey set would sponsor it, and that'd be even better.
Yeah, I gotta get on that because I tried to order a couple the other day, and it said it could not deliver to my address.
Ooh.
So I don't know what's going on. They have to still be. It's based in Canada. They have to still be shipping in the U.S. They have to be. That wouldn't make any sense if they weren't. Like,
well, with so many American NHL teams.
Yeah, it's just like it got to be where still a majority of your sales come from. Like I know Canada is Canada with how they do hockey, but America is so much bigger. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just, I guess you could survive. I don't know, man. So I gotta double check on that. Like it doesn't say anything in there about like they always keep up to date on like what their shipping expectancy is. And, you know, they've had some things about the Canadian dollar versus the American dollar and all that, but so they have to still be shipping them there. Maybe they just don't like Massachusetts. I don't know. I'll send it to Rogue Media and have you guys send it to me. But yeah, that would be great if they started sponsoring.
Nice. Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Or just become one of those influencers. Some of these Liverpool people just get these sent to them. So maybe that's where I need to lean into.
That's how we know we've made it. What if they send you like every season, we can get to a point where they just send you the new kit and you're like, oh yeah, okay, and you just show it off.
You know what that would be?
That's the dream, right?
That'd be the dream.
That's the dream.
That'd be the dream. I could die in peace after that. Unless it's like an ass kit and I have to pretend that it looks good.
That you like it just
because they sent it to me.
Yeah. That'd be the first one you get. Like you're so excited, and the first one you get is just when you're like,
and I'm just like, doesn't do much. But anyway, this will do a lot. This will do a lot for me. The pub tomorrow afternoon, Champions League, Liverpool Atleti. I will be wearing this shirt. Just if you want to come and find me. Anyway, Zach, I think that was productive. I think that was good.
It was nice. Thank you for showing that off.
It was perfect that we didn't have a lot of time, but I also needed to do this. So anyway, thanks guys for tuning in. Let me know what you think about the kit and what you think about the all-time great Bruins Killers and who the Red Sox need in the lineup right now. Let me know in the comment section below, and we will see you tomorrow live on YouTube, high noon Eastern time, on a little ditty that we like to call The Cam Show.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Sanes, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit twosains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.